Hello everyone, welcome to the fourth radical tutorial here at COTA. Hello everyone, here's a guided tour of a lap around COTA. Let's begin with turn 1. Turn 1, a lot of elevation, the braking zone is in a compression, so you can use a whole lot more braking in a straight line than you would if it was flat. However, be careful, the crest will bite you, and you will get some front lockup over the crest. And if you didn't get some front lockup, you better watch your steering because you will get oversteer over the crest. So you want to be as aligned as possible to the white line. You want to be as wide as possible. However, the curb and the green turf are not recommended. This car doesn't like it, and you will lock up the front, the left side tire. Sorry, and you will also lose braking force as a whole if you're not locking up. So here, a lot of braking with that car. At Sebring, I couldn't reach that much braking in a straight line. But then notice the moment I turn in, I'm playing in slow motion. The moment I turn in, I release the brakes to compensate for the crest. Also, a lot of steering work. So now if we look at the steering, correction, 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 and then I commit. Okay, and I'm still correcting it ever so slightly. Right about here is where there's a lot of grip. So right over here, you want to be careful with your steering input because you don't want to understeer. Because the moment you roll on power on exit, you'll snap oversteer. And also, you want to avoid the curb at all times because this car is quite stiff. And the moment you roll over the curb, it's not that you'll bounce, but before the curb is where you should be rolling on power. Right about here. Well, before the curb. Even with the curb, we can say. But the whole idea is that since you're putting power on the curb, you will kick the rear end out. That's not something desired. Also, as I turn into the corner, these cars have too much power for the straight line load the tires can take. So I can never really commit to full power until I reached a certain speed with a certain steering wheel angle. I'll play full time. Okay. That being said, you got to treat it kind of like a NASCAR. Okay, or you just got to treat it like a car with a lot of power. If you're not 100% throttle, it's okay as long as you're at the limit of the car, and that doesn't mean sliding. That means about to slide. You need to hold the about to slide as much as possible, but don't think that the faster guys are 100% power right here. Actually, it's slower because you're not carrying enough speed to show that oh, the car is struggling, right? You're not loading the tires on the side for the car to struggle when you roll on power. So if you're struggling with power on exit of that corner, it's a good thing. Just be patient, roll it smoothly, and increase your throttle progressively. Now, T2, there's a trick with T2. You can roll the right side tires, but there's a lot of understeer on that curb and even without the curb. So if you want to avoid the understeer to set up properly for the entry of T3, what I suggest doing is putting the left side tires on the curb, but ever so slightly. It's to your own risk. But here's what happens when you do so. Little kick of oversteer right here. It's nothing too bad. It won't hurt you a lot. You can definitely use it. That was a bit too much of a kick to my liking, but it was fine. The reason is I want to set up as right side as possible entering T3. If you do it too much, you will spin, so be careful of that. Now, going into T3, as close as possible to the yellow cone, which I'm not doing quite the good job here. Still got about a tire width left, half a tire. And also the idea is that you're trying to align yourself for T4. Why not align yourself when you can? Okay, I see a lot of people where they've been on sim in real life, they're even with the curb and they're not setting up the next corner. Just set it up. There's no compromise. You're full throttle. Okay, so set up the next corner, please. Now, entering T4 is very important that you get in this whole section your throttle and brake timing right. You shouldn't be braking after a corner. You shouldn't be throttling way before a corner. Your throttle sequence is important. Brake and throttle sequence is important, and you shouldn't be playing between the two, because all you're doing to the car is this, and you're upsetting the balance through a corner. So as I set up, a lot of braking, then I release, and look, as I get past the apex, I'm not gonna touch the throttle, but at least I'm off the brakes, right? And then I'm about to set up for the next corner. I brake again, get as close as possible to the cones. Car sliding a bit. I don't want to make it slide too much, so it offsets my distance to the cone. But look, the moment I pass the cone, I'm already rolling on power, right? Roll on power, full throttle in between T5 and T6. And you want to be as close to the right side as possible in the first part of T6. T6 is a double apex corner. Don't get the 1x, okay? But get close to that cone. Also, watch your downshift here. Okay, your downshift will give you a lot of rotation. So you don't want to be over braking. You can use that downshift to create rotation. You can also use engine braking to roll through the corner without putting too much braking and having too much nosedive. But watching your downshift from fourth to third is very important in that part of the corner. Here you need to run the curb as much as possible. It is not a racing line to be middle of the track right here. Okay, I've seen too many people do it in real life. I've seen too many people do it on the sim. It's just not right. It's slow. Okay, whenever you have a sequence of corners, the corner that has the longer straight takes precedent over the other corner. This corner has a little straight compared to that corner, which has a longer straight. I don't care if it's much longer, not much longer. And also, here, we're going to go even deeper. So this corner has some form of a straight, which is about the distance between those two curves, because we need to set up for the next corner. Then this corner has a bit longer straight. And then we set up for this corner, so we go wide and almost late apex that corner, even with the tarmac, to then set up this corner that has a longer straight. So if you catch my drift, the reason why I want you to set up as right as possible is because every corner that follows after sets up for a next corner. So set up every corner. Set up. Set up. Set up. Set up. But set up, this one's a double apex, so you can hold the right side and trail brake into it. That's probably the only exception. And then set up. Here you can brake on the curb as close as possible to the cone, and then set up. Trail brake, watch the crest. There's a little crest right here. It will make you oversteer. Roll all the way till you're at the tarmac patch. I got a little bit too greedy here, and I won't have the greatest of angles approaching T10 right here. Also, when you roll up T10, look, I give it power, and I release the power to align my car. It's okay. That's because of the elevation. The car dips down abruptly right about here. Okay. If you still have throttle, you will oversteer away, and it's not good for the tires, but it's also not easily catchable, because then you compress and you decompress again. So the car wants to keep oversteering. Throttle control here, throttle patience is very important, kind of like the exit to T1. These cars have a lot of power. Leading it down to T11. They're hairpin. Don't touch the curb when you brake here. Don't touch the turf. It's not good. You'll get full braking power if you just stay on the tarmac. Also, before the 100 board. Okay, it is for you to find out exactly where you want to brake, but before the 100 board, second gear. What's really important here is, as you start to trail brake, the goal is not to release all of the steering work at the end of the corner and yank the steering wheel. It's a very, very wide corner. It requires a lot of trail braking. So when you do so, turn the wheel very slowly and set up for the exit of the corner. The shape of this corner is tighter on exit than it is on entry. It's much wider on entry than it is on exit. That's why you set it up to be some form of late apex corner. So as you roll on power, you should be rolling on power right before the curb, and then aligning it for exit. You can kind of touch this curb, not the best, but it's not gonna hinder your lap or it's not gonna heat up your tires. Just don't get too greedy because you will hop if you get too close to that yellow right here. And this is probably the only corner where there is some form of grip on exit. Don't run too wide, otherwise you'll get the 1x. I was pretty much at the limit here. Now this is the longest straightaway on the racetrack. And then down into T12. T12 right after the 150 board, so let's say 125, 130 is where I brake. The only thing is, similar to T1, when you turn in, there's a crest, there's an elevation change that spans the track right about here. So you will get left front lockup. So turn the wheel slowly, make the braking corrections you need, but your focus is really to be able to commit to power at apex. I see a lot of people send it deep and commit to power right about here. You've missed the corner. Okay. But again, just like T1, look at my throttle. I can't commit to full power, and it's okay. It's fast. The numbers will not tell you what's fast or not. So if you're not 100% throttle, that's not what tells you if it's fast. It's stretching the limits of the tire. That's what's fast. So if at 80% throttle, you're at the limit of the tire, then don't go over 80% throttle. It's that simple. If you go to 100, you're over. If you go to 60, you're under. That's racing. Now, for the last part, well, not the last part, but the infield part of COTA, downshift timing is your way around oversteer. At low speed, this car does not like rotation. If you downshift from third to second, because that's what you'll be doing twice, here you're approaching in third. If you downshift from third to second before the apex, like way before the apex, you will oversteer. I've tried everything in setups. I've spent way too much time in this setup to try to figure the problem. The problem comes from the diff in the game. You can make a car that grips at low speed. It just won't grip at high speed. And that's unpleasant for everybody. So look at my downshift. I'm still in third, 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 second. Okay? The first two corners of the infield right here can be taken as one corner. What I mean by this is you're still doing steering work when you're approaching that second curb. So you're not getting back on a straight. So this is one long corner where it's a double apex. You trail brake for the first apex, and it's okay if you're coasting, got a little bit of braking past the first apex. As long as you got the rotation you wanted, you're not oversteering, and when you roll on power, you start to angle yourself to the second apex. And yeah, as you can tell, it's quite a mess for my steering wheel. So be patient. Overtaking opportunities here are to be taken with a serious intent, because a lot of crashes will happen here. And as I said, the straight line capabilities of these cars is very low for the cars they are. So it's probably the car, except maybe a NASCAR, it's probably the car where I start braking the earliest, right even with the first left side curve. What's important in this hairpin is you guys can see it. I wish you could. Okay, but where is it? Well, anyways, I'll explain it by words, and I hope that you do it by practice. Right as I approach here, I'm already looking at the hairpin. I'm not looking here. I'm not looking here. I'm looking at the hairpin. You need it. It's no use. And go watch any onboard video on earth. Go watch Max Verstappen. Go watch anyone you want that's fast. Okay? Anyone that's fast. It's no use to run close to those curves. That's not the shape of the corner. It's one corner. It's not two corners. This is not a straight. You're turning from the moment you approach here and touch the brakes. When you touch the brakes, it starts the corner. If you're braking, turning, straight line, braking, and then turning again, you can say, oh yeah, but it's closer, so I'm getting time. You're not. You're not, because you're creating two corners. If you're braking here, and then you turn, and then you didn't get back on throttle, but you apply a bit more pressure because you can brake in a straight line here, you've created two corners. Right? If somebody brakes hard in a straight line and then release and then puts the power down, that's one corner. A person who is driving one corner will forever be faster than a person who is driving two corners. What I mean by one or two corners, it depends on how you're using your tires. So the moment I brake, if I'm braking a straight line, I'm holding pressure. If I'm turning in, I'm trail braking. And if I'm getting off the brakes, I'm ready to go back on power. That's one corner for my tires. If I brake, I turn and I brake just a little harder as I open, and then I turn again. I've just created two corners on my tires. I'm not using the forces of the tire like the guy who's doing, or the guy or girl who's doing it with by one corner, right? So that's why brake hard in a straight line here. You're in third. Brake smoothly, okay? Not a lot of speed, not a lot of entry speed, not a lot of aero, bit of steering wheel angle. You won't be able to get past 50% braking. Well, depending on how straight you have the wheel, obviously, but you can't go as high as you were in T1 or T12 or even T11. Okay, and then look at the downshift to third, right? The patience with the brakes, no oversteer, and now the downshift to third happens. And I want you to appreciate one thing. Like I said, you downshift the third at the downshift the second, sorry, at the very, 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 very last minute. Okay, look, I'll downshift the second and look at my throttle. I'm already on it. Okay, what this does is, in third you have less friction resistance than in second from torque potential. TLDR, it will pull the car less. Okay. So the moment you downshift in second, if you're in too high RPMs, it pulls the car. What else can pull a car? A handbrake. Okay, so it's kind of like an exaggerated version of a handbrake, but if you downshift to second like right here, you will snap oversteer, guaranteed. So the key is the moment you're ready to downshift in second, you're also rolling power because you want to change the state of the differential into something more stable, TLDR. So that's why the moment I downshift in second, I'm on power because I want to use the third gear coasting differential because it's stable, and then I want to use the second gear drive differential because it's stable. Again, just like T1, you can't commit to full power and it's okay. Little kick of oversteer. I hope everyone likes it. It's gonna be fun. We are in Yeehaw land, so why not Yeehaw the cars? Into 16, 17, and 18. The setup to 16, if you can go wide and set up your corner, set up your corner. As you roll into the first part, coast, your apex is right here. And here, smoothly on power, easy on power. If you have to release the throttle between this part and this part, you're doing it wrong. You're creating two corners, right? So you want to lift and then smoothly roll on power. Also, if you smoothly roll on power, you're not gonna lift the nose too aggressively, but you're gonna have oversteer from the way the differential behaves in these cars, especially at high speed. Now here I have to play with the throttle because I'm getting a little bit of understeer. Not the best. I'm trying to stretch the limit of the tires. Also, just like T1, the curb right here. Sorry, just like T2, the curb right here will pull your car to the right side. So if you run two tires on the curb, you can get a little bit more cornering grip. Then right down into turn. A lot of numbers. Apologies. But if I recall correctly, it should be 17, 18. 19, 20. Good. Right down to turn 19. 16, 17, 18. Yeah, I don't know how to count. And I had the other ones right. That's 19. Right down to 19, you're in fifth. Okay. It's okay if you're lifting and you're braking before you even align with the curb, as long as you align yourself with the curb. Okay. So the transition can happen sooner than you being there. The important thing is, as you approach this white line right here, you should be looking at the apex. This will give you the timing at which you should apply the brakes. If you're still looking at the right side curbs and then you brake here, you've missed the apex and you'll get shocked. So that's the important thing. Just like turn 15, as you approach the hairpin, you're looking before even touching the brakes. Same thing in turn 19 right here. One downshift in fourth. Roll as close as possible to the curb, and the entry is much tighter than the exit. So that's what we call an early apex corner. So you can really attack the power early. See, I'm at almost 50, 60%, and I can roll to 100% power because I'm in fourth, low RPMs. Then this is probably the only corner where you'll be able to use the turf all race. Last corner T20. I use the tarmac on the right side as a braking reference. Two downshifts. Be patient with your downshifts. Okay. Fourth to third. Wait a little bit. Second before apex and then roll out. So here, fourth to third. Wait a little bit. Second and then roll out. Okay. I'm doing a bad job here. I'll miss the corner a little bit. You can't put two tires next to the yellow. You can also put two tires on the inside of the yellow. Just watch the 1X. Two tires on the yellow can make your car hop a little bit, but it's manageable through a race. And again, just like the exit of every other corner on this track, you cannot commit to full power. The moment you get past apex, you need to modulate your power because there's a lot of power. And that was a lap around COTA. Hope it helped. If anyone's looking for gears, please look at the fast lap and note them down. I will also write them in the description of the video. Otherwise, I hope everyone enjoys the race. And yeah, watch your throttle.